Keeping up with technology is hard. There's too much information to keep track of. It's time for a simple and straightforward approach. It's time for IT Insights.
In our last segment, I talked with Claude Lawrenson from Microsoft, and now I'm being joined by JB, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what the HPE solution is for Azure Stack.
Sure. So the HPE solution on Azure Stack is based on the ProLiant DL380 server. And what we typically do is factory install up to anywhere from 4 to 16 servers in one cabinet, and we call that an appliance. And essentially we ship that to the customer and it's installed into your data center to form a private cloud. And so on top of that software is the Azure Stack software. So that's from Microsoft, and we're the leading OEM in North America.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we do factory integration. We do have to do it on the customer. We do install it there, and then we have the support contract for up to 3 years.
Okay, so it's an integrated system. I know I talk with a lot of customers, and they're wanting to just download, run Azure Stack on whatever server they may have in their closet. So you're not able to do that.
Yeah. So there is a developer kit for Azure Stack where the customer could download that and install it for just testing purposes.
Okay.
It wouldn't have any redundancy, and it wouldn't be useful for production purposes. So for a production solution, it would be a minimum of 4 servers. And then that rack can include up to 16 servers.
Okay, so turnkey integrated solution.
Yep, turnkey. We install the whole thing. It's a little tricky to install right now. And therefore, Microsoft and HPE want to make sure that we have a successful deployment.
Right.
So that's why we do the factory installation and the on-site deployment to make sure it works.
We recently launched the Gen 10 solution, so HPE ProLiant for Microsoft Azure Stack Gen 10. It's a mouthful. Can you talk a little bit about what makes the Gen 10 solution unique and different from Gen 9?
Yeah, sure. So the Gen 10 is our latest generation of the ProLiant line. Even though that shipped last year, we just now certified it with Microsoft so that it's now available for Azure Stack. Roughly, we doubled the memory footprint, we doubled the amount of storage and CPU. So the big takeaway here is that it's roughly a little bit more than double the size per server that we had in our Gen 9 solution. So we can basically fit more workloads in one cabinet now.
Okay, and what about security? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So a couple of new features in our Gen 10 that is now available for Azure Stack. One is most popular is that we call silicone root of trust. So essentially what we're doing now is during boot up and as we run the operations, the server can constantly monitor to make sure it has not had an attempt to hack the server, either remotely or inside the data center. They can literally go in there and people can hack it. So it actually continuously monitors that, ensures it hasn't been hacked. And if it does sense anything's wrong, it'll literally go back and automatically revert back to a previous firmware if it detects something's wrong.
Okay, and that's unique to HPE.
That's very unique to HPE. It's
okay.
Exactly right.
Great. Last question for you is around use cases. So in my previous segment, we talked about use cases a little bit, kind of the traditional ones, but in your role, Chief Technologist, you talk with customers all the time. So what are you seeing as unique use cases?
Yeah. So a very common use case for Azure Stack is, and I like the word Azure Stack as it's a private cloud instance of Azure Public. So it's on your data center. Well, I was talking to customers today, and they're from Canada, but they're in the oil and energy business. So they have a lot of fracking stations and around deploys out in the middle of the deserts. They've got oil drilling rigs and mining situations. So they want to basically take Azure Stack and do real-time analytics of the data on site. It's so much data that they couldn't pipe it to the cloud and process it and bring it back down. So they have to process it on site in real time. And then they use the public cloud as the transmission of the answers. But that real-time data is a really good case, and we call it an edge or connected item at the very edge of the cloud here in their case, which would be at an oil rig in their case.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining me today. Appreciate your time, and we'll be talking soon.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.